Hey guys, it's Tom Box, and welcome to MST.TV. And today we're thinking about fixing Canine Vanquish Soul. They just suffered the winning world syndrome, getting axed by the banlist a couple of days ago, and it's pretty typical. Whenever something wins, it's always going to be at risk. I mean, we only had the deck for about 2 months and it's already gone, so that's probably one of the most upsetting factors about it. And people thought like, hey, they kind of hit the deck a little too hard. Raising to 1 is a significant hit, okay? So we're gonna have to adapt on that. That's something that we can't escape. But, you know, we can look into different ways that we can fix up the deck because many of the slots opened up. So make sure you guys hit that like button, hit subscribe, ding that notification bell, and I'm going to share with you guys everything that I've been doing for the last couple of days on trying to fix Canine Vanquish Soul. First things first, the Holly Sue line. If you now have Holly Sue and Raisin in your hand at the same time, it doesn't feel very good because you can't summon out Raisin anymore. You're kind of forced to summon out other monsters. So what are some of the better options? Mad Love is going to be one of your go-to options because it fetches you the additional spell card, and the spell card can get you additional pluses. That's one way you can do it, but it's definitely not as aggressive. Luckily, the Mad Love is also a form of disruption where it has a non-target bounce. As long as something has less than 2,000 defense, you can definitely get that non-target bounce and use that to your advantage. Otherwise, if you open with Raisin, that's unfortunate. But if you don't open with Raisin, you still have the classic line. Maybe you reveal Jiao Long and another Dark, and this provides you with the entire line that was all the same going for Raisin into Caesar. That line is still very much still here, just not as consistent. And alternatively, it's not as strong if you just summon out the Caesar directly, because if you summon Caesar directly and you don't have the access to the Earth, you can't bounce Holly Sue back to give you that additional Earth. So the manipulation of attribute definitely got a lot harder. We can adapt the playstyle and it can still be a very functional deck. So this is my version of the deck right here, and I did not play low to the ground. I enjoyed making them my rank 5, so I lost 2 Stake Your Souls and 2 Raisins out of my build and 1 Paradise Smasher. Did I summon Paradise Smasher? Yes, I'm guilty of that. I mean, who isn't? This is what I'm working with here, and if you guys are playing the low to the ground version with the triple pot of Extrav, triple rock of the Vanquisher, you probably have more to adapt. So how do we fill those slots? I mean, Stake Your Souls, essentially 2 of the E-tallies of the deck are gone, and then your Raisin being really good, your Stratos of the deck, you're also missing fire attributes. So you got to get that balance if you really want to keep on playing Vanquish Soul. And the extra deck, that's a little bit easier. I mean, there's Canine Jacks coming out. You can even adapt, like maybe remove one of the Rippers. Maybe you take out the rocks, shove in a yugioh, whatever that you need to do so that you can get that yugioh line online and you can get that consistency up. We'll talk more about that because we're going to look into Doom of Dimension, we're looking at spell cards, we're going to look at monster cards, and we're even look at some spicy text. So we'll get to it. Alright, the first reaction would be, let's just shove in more hand traps. Let's try to stick with fire-based hand traps. So I got 3 hand traps that I really tried out. Sure, one of them's not fire, but one's just really good. So we have the Rescue Ace package, Ghost Bell, and Haunted Mansion, and my personal tech choice. I've tried this for a little bit, and considering I'm a Chimera fan, Emissary from the House of Wax. We'll talk about each of these, the pros and cons of each. So starting with the Rescue Ace package. This is really, really good synergy. People already played this even during the previous format for the fire attacker, for the additional draw power. They love drawing cards. If you love drawing cards, then this might be the package for you. Offers you the fire attribute. It's a pseudo phantasm. You get to draw cards and discard, so you get to dig into more hand traps. But number 1, fire attacker is a super brick. It is one of the worst ones. This is level 6. You can't joke the piece out. It's bad going first because these cards don't do anything when you're going first unless your opponent searches during your turn. These are going to be essentially stuck in your hand as attributes, and if you cannot fulfill a canine or a Vanquish Soul requirement for activating stuff, then this is going to get a little dicey because you only have 1 Stake Your Soul. I mean, if Stake Your Soul is still at 3, this is absolutely fine because you're going to have the correct attribute. You can dig out the Raisin, you can start your play. But with that at 1, now you're risking not seeing the Stake Your Soul, and you have a handful of hand traps that don't do anything. Essentially, you have too much non-engine. So this is what it kind of feels like. But worse yet, because Draco Tail is going to be such a big part of the meta, Draco Tail, if you activate Impulse against Draco Tail, now on their first turn, where normally you would not have a monster, you might have enabled their Draco Tail Ketu to get a lot stronger, additional fusion play, and maybe even able to extend further than you normally would be able to break. Then the next hand trap would be Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. I mean, this is like a meta answer. It deals with Yummy's Tag Out, deals with Draco Tail's the traps in the back row, and also Mitsurugi when they activate prayers. This is overall generically a very good card. Unfortunately, it is Earth attribute. It does not fulfill the fire requirement. Maybe that's okay. Maybe we should be focusing more on Mad Love. Generally, this is good, yeah, but it's not fire. It doesn't add consistency. Again, it's a non-engine, and we're right now trying to fix engine. And finally, the fire attribute, Emissary from the House of Wax. Okay, hear me out, guys. If you guys don't know this card, essentially it's a battle-based hand trap. Consider it as like modern-day Battle Fader with a little bit more spice. Whenever your opponent declares an attack and summon this card out, it cannot be destroyed by battle, and you just leave them defense mode. But if you end the battle phase with this card on the field, all of your opponent's monsters' effects are negated. They cannot be used for any type of material. They are essentially kind of stuck with a bunch of monsters that they can't link away, they can't synchro away, they can't fuse away, cannot be used of material of any sort, and that lasts until the end of the next turn. So you get to kind of keep this on the board. So the board is essentially already pre-broken, and that's why I kind of like it. Even as a standalone card, it's not too bad. It does function. That being said, this thing is just nice to have in your hand. Sometimes it works. It doesn't really work well against anyone that has battle phase based interaction where they can negate your card, because the effect to negate everything that does activate, and if they have a way to negate you, you're still going to, well, lose the body, or maybe it's just not going to wipe the entire board or lock out the entire board as you want it. So the more obvious option is waiting till next week or this weekend so that you can play into Doom of Dimension, playing more Canine. So you can max out on the case of Canine. That can actually add consistency to the deck. Sure, it's not adding it towards, say, the Vanquish Soul side, but it's adding it more to the Canine side. And the Canine side, they're very capable themselves. Number one, they're getting Noroi. Noroi being added into the deck, they get themselves an additional normal summon that's very, very strong. Summons a Canine monster directly from the deck. But more importantly, the hand checking effect. I don't know how many games I've won just by hand checking my opponent, saying, oh, their whole hand is just hand traps. I don't even need to extend into those hand traps anymore. You're Nibiru, yeah, you're not summoning that. I just need to negate whatever engine that you're going to draw in the next turn, and that's it. I don't even need to commit. That's how wild the hand checking effect can be. If you see your opponent having a ton of engine, but you know which card they're starting with, you can find disruption lines which just cuts them off entirely, and that's why Noroi is pretty broken. So that also fills in one of the 4 slots for the deck. It's not like I won't need to max out. Unless you're playing pure K9, you probably don't need to max out on this card, considering it's a normal summon. It's more consistent. Also, it has that one card star Yugioh combo. If you guys haven't checked it out, check out that combo video that kind of shows you how to do the one card star Yugioh combo. That lets you dig 4 cards and set up your negation. So it's very important. Unfortunately, this also means that there's likely going to be a shift towards infinite impermanence coming back in. And if you're going to be playing this particular engine, you can also take a consideration of trying out this one. This is actually one of my favorite monsters. Someone suggested it. Shout out to you, whoever that suggested. I can't remember. It was like off of a comment. But Super Quantal Red Layer. It somehow fulfills all the conditions of being the right thing at the right time. Number 1, it's level 5, so it synergizes with the Jokol. Number 2, it's a fire monster. Number 3, it's a free special summon, so it can help extend your combos in case something's not working, perfectly well. Okay, well, so you have Stake Your Soul synergy, you have Holly Sue synergy, you have rank 5 synergy, and it's often more useful than not. Unfortunately, the one thing it's missing, of course, is it doesn't share a Vanquish Soul name. If it did, it would be the perfect monster. But this is like that perfect guy friend, all right, that you'll never date. Girls will never date that perfect guy friend. The super nice guy. Oh, he's such a nice best friend. This is the guy in the friend zone, okay? But you still want this guy around. These are some additional monsters that I've tried out, and I found them to be hilarious. A lot of these are going second options because, yeah, when you get a monster that's fire attribute, it needs to be able to do something if it does not share a Vanquish Soul name or is level 5. So let's take a look at what we have. Number 1, Kurikara. This is a given. It breaks Lunar Lights, the Liger Dancers. It's fantastic when it can do that, and sometimes you win by just burning your opponent. Like if you're playing against Yummy and they put up so many monsters because they're triggering everything, you activate something, they tag out, essentially 3,000 additional damage you're going to be putting onto Divine Kurikara. And if they left the Snatchy on board and you take that out as well, you might be at 6,000 damage just on that alone, and you can just push right through. Considering that there's no interaction when you summon out the Kurikara, that lets you break the entire board and just use Heavy Borg and try to close out the entire game. Doggeran essentially is the 3,000 attack imperm. That's what I like to consider it. So these are board breakers, likely going to be more of a side card than an actual main deck choice. But some people choose it the main deck choice because Luna Lights was a very big problem, and probably will be a big problem in this current format. I want to see how it plays out after like the first week of Doom of Dimensions to see, you know, where the decks land. Maybe K9 Vanquish does stay at the very top thanks to the K9 cards. We'll see, but there's other variants of K9 like Soulful Core K9 and like Crystron K9 and Cyber Dragon K9. These are all other K9 variants that are also very strong. Then there's also 10 Pi Dragon. This is a very funny package. Shout out to Squiddy for suggesting it. I tried it out. It's very clunky. It felt very clunky. But in certain cases where you only have special summon based lines, and then your opponent commits basically everything to stopping both the Vanquish Soul and the K9 line, and then you drop a Chandra and then you OTK them, then that's fine. But in reality, that kind of clunkiness is going to be very apparent because you're going to normal summon Raisin, you're going to normal summon Mad Love, you're going to normal summon Roy. The Chandra just doesn't seem like it has its place. It just feels a little bit awkward. I mean, you can Sangan Kaiman it out during battle phase. Other than that, you're gonna run into hands where you get a really bad mix. Next, there's Queen of the Blazing Domain. This card on paper reads really well, but it's not as good as it seems in the current format because, number one, we're like, oh, this is essentially a one-sided defisher. Kind of. Okay, anything that's only sent from the field to the graveyard is banished. If you look at the current meta, aside from Yummy, this card is pretty decent against Yummy, but Yummy has in-engine answers, built-in answers within the main deck, such as Yummy's Surprise to bounce it back. Queen of the Blazing Domain cannot be destroyed by card effects. And here's the problem with the rest of the meta. Against Mitsurugi, what are you going to do? They activate their ritual, they send 2 monsters into the graveyard. Guess what? It still goes to the graveyard because it's going from deck to grave, not field to grave, so it doesn't really matter. And against Draco Tail, same thing. When they're fusing from hand, so they're going from hand to the graveyard now, not field, so everything is still activating. So Queen of the Blazing Domain, maybe she will see her play in the future, but now is definitely not the time. Maybe it's like a shifter like card, because when Dimension Shifter first came out, no one even played the card because there was no deck that could truly appreciate it. Next, this is one of my favorites, and definitely not your favorite. Barrier of the Statue of Infernos. I mean, we're kind of taking these barrier statues a little overboard. Number one is fire, so you can use it for the reveal, but this is a card that you summon at the very end after you develop your board, and it also puts your opponent in a weird position if they have Nibiru, because if you put this card out, now they cannot Nibiru you anymore, so they're always going to be like, do I just drop Nibiru now and call it a day? But if they drop Nibiru on you now and you didn't burn your normal, then you can just drop this next to that and kind of waste their whole turn, as long as you have additional disruption. By that, I mean, the way I like to summon this is with Saryuja. Use Saryuja's effect to summon this card out. What is Yummy going to do? They're all light-based. They have no fire option, so they have to bounce it back, but it's not even that easy to bounce back because they can't special summon anything. They're bound to a normal summon, and then what? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to me? And yeah, it's a very funny game closer. You can also normal summon out the card, and it really just annoys the opponent, but you can't break the Yummy board, so it's definitely not as strong as like summoning out Pancratops, because there's still a lot of stuff on the field that may be preventing you from playing. But overall, the barrier statue is very funny. It also works against Draco Tail. Look at their extra deck. They have no fusion options in those lines, and the rest of those dragon fusion lines, they're either light or dark. And finally, there's also Vanquish Soul, the original fire. We have Pluton HG. It's the zombie Vanquish Soul that's level 6. I guess Milano's been finding success with it. I mean, he's been tweeting about it, but I don't know how much I can take that at face value. But you know what? He's a good duelist. Let's just take it for his word. It shares the Vanquish Soul name, is good enough in that regard. Now for future spell options, consider the following. Infernoble Arms Durandal, Chaotic Elements, and 7th Tachyon. Durandal is my least favorite here. All it really does is search for Raisin. And Raisin, we already talked about this. If it's in your hand, it destroys your Holly Sue line. So I'm not really that big of a fan. It's also a normal summon-based conflict as well, because you have to normal summon the Raisin. Yeah, so that's why I'm not a super big fan of this. And on top of that, your opponent can break this card. And if you're going first with this, you have to put a monster on the field first before you get to actually take advantage of this. So it's a bit risky, but it can burn away your opponent's Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. But if they do that, you're now stuck with a Durandal, and you're going to get rid of it yourself because you probably special summon, say, Joko on another monster to get that equip on board. But going second, you can equip this onto your opponent's monster, and then they're going to answer it. So essentially, you're just giving yourself a minus. That's why I'm not a big fan of Inferno Bomb's Durandal. But Chaotic Elements, on the other hand, is probably one of my favorites because you get to search for Joko, you get to search for Lantern. There's no real restriction. It's only got good things going for it. And yes, you're adding Joko, you're adding Lantern. Who cares? Those are fantastic monsters at the end of the day that can normal summon themselves out even in the worst case scenario. And then there's 7th Tachyon. This one was a very cool suggestion. Shout outs to the people that replied onto my X post. 7th Tachyon, you can add additional rank 5s into your deck, such as the Giant Hand and or the Comet Cestus. That's the 105. You can change up the levels a little bit, but essentially you can add a fire. If you have a fire level 5, now you can add a fire level 5. If you have an earth, guess what? You can search for Izuna. You can search for Noroi. You can search for anything. It's really good. All it does is that it locks you into Xyz only, which means the line that you lose, number 1 is going to be Saryuja line. Number 2, you're going to lose access to your Rocket the Vanquisher. So this might be something you do later in the combo, but if you have nothing else better to play, then this is actually not a bad search option. And my final option here that I want to talk about would be Super Poly in K9 Vanquish. Yeah, it's a possibility. I've seen some of the builds in OCG that do this, but they play with Holly Sue and Valen. These are essentially your psychic options, and you can fuse with a Synchro, a Link, or an Xyz, and they go into Axon, Kicker, Oracle. Oracle's not a weak monster, but it's one of the ones with a more generic, Super Poly-esque type card because it just requires a basic psychic and it doesn't require anything else to be a synchro monster, making this card very strong. It also boosts its attack by 1000 per monster that was summoned from the extra deck. So if you have like say Valen plus like a Link, then it'll go to 4,900 attack, which is more than anything Yummy can ever dish at you, and you can probably summon this during the battle phase and really annoy them. Yeah, so there's that. And the effect of this card is a non-chain special summon negation. Essentially, it's like a solemn judgment for summons, where if your opponent tries to special summon, or rather a Horn of Heaven type card, Black Horn of Heaven, that's probably it. And when they try to summon, you can negate it, because even if they try to use the Snatchy and they activate the S-Chain Link 1, once the monster is about to come out, because considering that the card text is worded based on after this card resolves, so technically it's not in the med resolution of the chain anymore when that is occurring, so you can actually negate those summons as long as it's Chain Link 1. It has to be Chain Link 1. And yeah, that also applies for like IP Masquerade and cards like that. But yeah, it does break Yummy boards. It does have fun with the follow-up, and you can also shove in like Garura, Mud Dragon, just so that you have variance in terms of what you can make with the Super Poly. So the Super Poly is a very much a live card for board breaking and disruption, because if your opponent starts building a board, you can use this, and essentially the Holly Suit that's already burnt out, you can use Super Poly to take that away and give yourself an additional follow-up negation in that regard. That's all I got for this video, guys. If you guys got inspired by this video or learned a thing or two about the upcoming weekend and the format of Doom of Dimension, hit that thumbs up button, hit subscribe, ding that notification bell. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed my chat, kind of breaking down potential options that you can try for. Well, I appreciate you guys for coming and watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all in the next one.